Hey everyone, I'm going to quickly go over sleeping and nap time for your cockatiels. A cockatiel needs about 10 to 12 hours of sleep in a nice, quiet, dark place, but of course you do want a night light because cockatiels tend to get night terrors. And when they have night terrors, they can easily injure themselves if they can't see where they're flapping or where they're going. For napping, you can usually tell when a cockatiel is ready to go take their nap. What my teals do is they'll rock themselves to sleep and you'll see their eyes squinting and they'll fluff up into a cute little ball and they're like slowly falling asleep. And at that point, I will take them and I'll put them away back in their little cage, put the blanket over, and let them sleep there for a couple of hours. One of my teals usually lets me know when he's ready to be taken out, and he'll start chirping away and like, hey, I'm here, I'm awake, take me out. If your cockatiel doesn't do that, just check on them, and if they're awake and they'll want to come towards the front of the cage, they will. If your cockatiel is still new and not used to you, it just takes time. With my youngest cockatiel, it used to take about, sometimes I'd be in front of his cage for half an hour, just sitting and talking to him and waiting for him to come out. Big important thing with their cages is you don't want to stick your hand into the cage. You want to wait for them to come to the edge of the cage and come out. It's like their personal space. You don't want to intrude, that's their safe space. What I do is I tap the edge of the cage and I wait for them to walk to me. It might take a while, and sometimes they'll be right to you. Now, an important thing to remember with your cockatiels is to keep an eye out for a lethargic cockatiel. A lethargic cockatiel will show signs of not being as talkative, not flying around or walking around as much, not wanting to interact with you, not fluffing up as much as they usually would. They'll be sleeping more often or just be tired all the time. And being lethargic is a sign of sickness, and you'll always want to call it, and even if you're questioning it, it's better to just call a vet and get their advice on it. My oldest cockatiel, I noticed he was sleeping more often and he wasn't as talkative to me and he looked a little bit underweight, so I called it in, took him to the avian vet. And if you don't have an avian vet near you, try to find the best vet that knows most about birds, and you can just call them up, get a couple questions, see if they're comfortable with your bird. But my oldest cockatiel, we took him in and he had parasites passed down to him from his parents, and we found out that was actually very common. And if you haven't gotten your bird checked up yet from being a new cockatiel, I suggest doing it just so you can rule out that possibility. Real quick before I go, when dressing your cage for blankets and everything, try to keep the room between 65 to 70. That's usually a more comfort zone for temperature for cockatiels. Always keep part of the cage not covered. This way there's air circulation, and especially this is important if you have heat lamps, because you don't want to trap that warm air in the cage with your birds. And also, when you're out during the day, or if you're not home, working, school, whatever it may be, what I do is I keep half of my cage covered. This way that allows a dark space for them to be in towards the back, and then it allows the front part of my cage for them to see their seeds and see the water and play with their little toys. That way they can still be interactive and not stuck in the dark, and they won't have to be stuck in the light for their nap times either. Alright, well that's all I have for today. If you have any more questions, please comment below. I will try to answer to the best of my knowledge. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, and thank you for watching.